Alrighty, we're back. And before we get to modeling or going into Java, we're gonna just see how it looks on our model. So for this, you're gonna take your final model, you're gonna save it, and you're gonna make a version for the textures. This, I notice, is just, trust me, just do it, okay? Just, oh my goodness, I've had so many times where this messes up. So I'm gonna just, there, texture. Okay. Then we're gonna go here to load texture. We're gonna go to this one. Notice that it has all this stuff just so we see how it looks. Put it in. Notice how it's see-through, right? Notice how when we click these, they become not see-through, right? But let's say you want to see it when it's not see-through. So let's go here into edit. Let's clear model. And there you go. This, what it just did, it deleted everything. Okay? This is why you want to make a backup. So you can delete everything and see how your model looks. Now notice that we've messed up and our face is covered. Our face has messed up. Also, take note how I accidentally made this white and this blue instead of this white and this blue. Alright? This is where you see all the mistakes. So we're just going to quickly go back into our files and edit this quickly and then load them back up in this. So I closed GIMP and everything. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Jeez. Oh my goodness, this is embarrassing. So I'll edit to when I fixed everything, okay? Alright, by the way, if you want to know quickly how I'm gonna make my face, oops, there we go. Make sure you're making the holes at the front, right? You don't want it on like the side or something, right? Just make sure you're looking at the side that has the F on it and make the holes how you want it. I'm gonna just create this T. That's all I'm doing. Alright, so now that we have, I'm gonna skip back to when we're actually so yeah, I'm gonna just skip back to where we were. So we are back. And another thing I noticed is, well, we accidentally modeled the bottom of these. So we have to make sure to delete those. Also, one last thing before we go back. Make sure that the bottom of the hand is not drawn. Oops, the bottom of the hand is not drawn, because remember that it'll show up in the model, and so we want to make sure the bottom part of the hand is not drawn, because it's not, we don't want that just a random texture floating at the bottom, right? So let's just, oops, hard edge, let me just take this out right here. Alright, so let's go back. Alright, and we're back, and everything has been fixed. Look, we have a hole that we can see through. It's very big. You can see that the bottoms are not drawn. Make sure to take that out if you just skipped. And yeah, we can see the shoulders and stuff. So this is nice. This is cool. So now that we see how our armor fully looks like, we're gonna close this. We don't need this anymore. Open up Techne. And then we're going to see that backup file that we made. We're going to open that up and we're going to use that to export to Java. Alright? Because using our texture file, it actually deleted everything. So it's now useless. So we're going to just X that out. Open this one. 3. Not the texture one, this one. Alright. There's our model. Done deal. This is what we're going to be using. So let's go to File. Export as Java, and we're just gonna boom this one. There's the one I'm using, model custom-armor.java. Save, and we're not gonna even touch it for a little bit. We're gonna just set up our classes. We're gonna close this, I'm gonna close this. We don't need Tecna anymore. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna open the Java that I already made right here. Alrighty, there we go. This is gonna be, well, I have dual screens because I didn't remember everything we need, and I'm gonna be just looking over it for notes and stuff. So be wary of that. It's very useful. So this is my modding environment right now. It's, oops, I have to delete all this. Whoops, whoa. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is how it should look like empty. We have our proxy common client. Our proxy client has register renders. It's an empty class. Let's just go to proxy client right now. See, nothing. Just a public static void. Nothing. The proxy common has nothing. I just set it up normally. I have this references class which just keeps the stuff I need without, so I don't have to memorize, oh, like what mod ID did I use, you know? And yeah, I also have this resources here that just keeps, literally just keeps this mod ID plus the colon. That's all. Alright, so close this. And I also have this. I have a public class armor MTM that extends the item armor, right? I have done nothing else. This is a vanilla Minecraft type class object. Okay, that's it. I'm also gonna delete this. I was testing stuff out, so don't mind all this random stuff you see. This is empty. This is just constructor. All the constructors is just set the max stack size to 1. This is just set the creative tab to tab misc. That's all. Very empty. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this class up with stuff we need. Stuff we very much need. Things that'll make everything much more convenient. You can consider this more on a convenience tutorial, I guess. But we're just setting up our armor class to make it nice and easy to put in our icons, our textures, and everything. Everything that we do from now on will be based on the name, on our unlocalized name that we give it. Alright? Keep that in mind. We have to have the same name for the textures, the same name for the icons, and the same name in the language file. So we're gonna base everything off our name, so it's, and trust me, this is just the easiest way of doing it. And it's not the easiest, sorry, it's the most convenient way of doing it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to override a method on the item class called UnlocalizedName, getUnlocalizedName, and it's going to return this. And I'll explain it in a sec. Oops. Item, arguments. This is just a method that we haven't made yet, but we're gonna put it in a second. And this is the super method of the getUnlocalizedName. So this super here, this is just nothing. This is what it would return if we called it from here, but we're overriding it and we're returning the super part of it. So what does, first of all, what does super.getUnlocalizedName return? It returns this. It returns item dot custom, right? We're gonna name this custom helmet or custom chest, and this is what getUnlocalizedName would give you. Alright, but we first, well, the only reason this getUnlocalizedName would ever work is if we set the unlocalized name, right? For example, if we went up here and typed in set unlocalizedName, here we would put in, let's say for example, is the helmet, custom helmet, right? And now when we used getUnlocalizedName, we would get item.helm, but we don't want that. We don't want to get this unlocalized name. I mean this super getUnlocalizedName. We want to get in a different format, and this format looks like this: item dot what was I saying? Dot mod ID colon item name. This is how we want it to look like. Alright, The reason for this is for the language file. This is what the language file looks for. Okay? That's the reason why we're doing this. What we're gonna do in the language file is this is how we're gonna get the name, dot name, and then we're gonna name it like the human readable name, like this. Okay? So that's what we're doing right now. What we're doing is basically changing from item dot custom helm to item dot mod ID colon custom helm. That's what we're doing right now. This is what this does here. The resource prefix. So what this is gonna do, item ID. Oh, whoops, I forgot a dot here. There we go. So what this is gonna do, right? It's gonna item dot resource prefix. So this %s is gonna turn into the resource prefix, which is, remember, it's just this, the mod name plus the colon, which is what I was saying, and then the unwrapped unlocalized name, which this unwrapped unlocalized name is just gonna return whatever name we gave it. So it's gonna just return this custom helm. We're gonna make that method in a second. So Minecraft has two ways of calling the getUnlocalizedName, and sometimes it calls it with an item stack in mind. So it actually does this. So for the cases, so we don't get errors, oops, item stack doesn't exist, item stack with a capital S. So we don't get any errors, we just make sure that we have an extra parameter here, just in case Minecraft decides to put an item stack. That's the reason why we have two of these. And now we're gonna finally make the unwrapped unlocalized name. Now you might be wondering, oh, how did you think of all this? Well, I didn't. I got it from Pahimar's video on the custom items and stuff like that. So he made a great tutorial on that kind of stuff, and the annotation is in the top right. So if you want to look at it, and he'll explain through it just as well, or even better than I did. So it takes in a string, and the string is this, the unlocalized name. And here what we're going to do is we're going to return the unlocalized name dot substring, unlocalized name dot index of the dot plus 1. What does this do? Well, simple enough. Remember how I was saying that the super get unlocalized name actually does this? It'll do something like this. Well, what we're doing is that we're finding the index of the dot, adding 1 to it, and then deleting everything after it. That's what substring does. That's all we're doing. The reason it's protected is so we might want to use this in other items, right? We might want to use this in our custom item, in our custom item armor. So that's why it's protected. But we'd have that in the same package. Alrighty, so finally we can get started. Did I spell this right? Unlocalized. There you go. And here to unlocalized. There you go. Okay. Now it works. Okay. Now, this is all just for the item icon and the item language. Okay, it'll also help us, this get unwrapped unlocalized name will also help us with the texture. So the way that Minecraft actually looks for the armor texture is by calling this method getArmorTexture, and it takes in an item stack, takes in an item stack, an entity, a slot, and a layer. And what it returns is actually a string. It's the location of where it is. For now, it'll just return null, just to get the error off for packs. And what's the error on? Oh, oops, layer string. Okay, so what you'll notice is this is just the item stack. This is if you need to use information from the item stack to get the texture. The item stack is this armor. Entity, just for some reason, if you want to use the entity, the slot is what we're looking at. The slot is the helmet, the chest plate, the legs, or the boots. This is what's important, because this does decide if we use layer 1 or layer 2, right? If it's the legs, then we want to use layer 2. If it's anything else, we use layer 1. Right? So this layer here tells us which layer we're going to be using, 1 or 2. But we're not going to use this. We're not going to use it at all, actually. It just has to be there so we can override it. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to get, what we want to do is we want to somehow convert our item name into where the texture is, right? So where we're going to put our textures is this folder here, models / armor / and it's going to be custom layer 1 or custom layer 2.png, right? So we have to find a way when we're given just the unlocalized name, which will look something like this, or just given the unlocalized name, which will look something like this. Oops. Item. Oh my goodness, what the hell? Okay, there you go. Item dot the name or whatever, right? We want to make sure that we're getting just the name of the item, right? For example, let's say if it's custom, it's whatever _ helm, right? We don't want the helm. We want the general name for our armor, which will be custom, right? So how are we going to do that? Also, the way that I'm doing it is just the way I want to do it, right? Now, just before I keep going, you could literally do something like this. If slot equals to, for example, then return, let's say, for example, it's going to be the mod ID, so put whatever mod ID you want, colon, textures, models, armor, or whichever place you put it in, something like this, right? And then you can also do else and return, and the exact same thing, except mod ID, textures, models, armor, custom layer 1.png. okay? So this, you could do this if you want. It'll be just for one item, but we're not going to do that. We're trying to make this the most general armor TMs, item armor thing, so we can just add armors on the fly and we don't have to do all this crap. Instead, we can just set the unlocalized name and instantly we can get the armor texture, the unlocalized name, and the item icon. Alright? Alright. By the way, we didn't write the item icon yet. We'll write that in a sec after we write this. So now that we know what our goal is to get this, right? Let's write that out. So what gives us this? What gives us this? Well, doesn't this unwrapped unlocalized name give us this, right? That's what we made it for, just to get this, the item name, right? So we can add it onto here, right? So let's use that. Let's use that right now. So name is equal to this dot get unwrapped unlocalized name, and we're gonna put in super dot get unlocalized name, right? This is what we did before, and this will just give us this, right? Well, wait a second, it's custom helm, not custom layer, right? So what we're gonna do is we need to find where this underscore is, take out helmet, and then we're gonna add in layer, and we're gonna add in whichever layer it's supposed to be. Now keep in mind that you have to make your armor like this, okay? What I suggest doing from this point on is not use underscores and have your armor have one single name. So for example, let's say you have an armor called super awesome armor, or super awesome, okay? If it's super awesome, don't do this. Don't do this. Because it's gonna find the first underscore, right? So instead, just put it together. Super awesome armor, put it together like that, so it finds this underscore, right? It's gonna assume that your name only has one underscore, and everything before the underscore is the general name for your armor. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do name is equal to name dot substring, right? And it's gonna go from 0 to it's gonna go. Oops, where is this? Sorry, I'm looking at my dual screen. It's gonna go from 0 to the index of the underscore, right? Because the underscore is where the underscore is where we want it to cut off. So now name is going to be equal to this custom, and we're done. Now we can return the string that we want, right? Because we're given the slot for the layer and we have the name. So we're gonna once again we're gonna do this string dot format, and at the beginning, remember how we want it to look. That's the biggest thing. Remember how we want it to look. Our goal is to make it look like this: mod ID, mod ID, textures slash dot 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 dot, and then our ping, PNG. All right, that's what we want it to look like. So this is what we're doing. So right here, right, the colon, textures, right, is where we're going. Models, armor. We're gonna add another string here. This is gonna be the name we just found, and we're gonna add the digit. This digit is gonna be the slot, right, and then .png. Then we're gonna add the parameters here. Reference dot mod ID. References dot mod ID. There you go. And that's just gonna put mod ID right in this first one. And then we want to put in our name, right? The name we just found, we're gonna put it into this one. And then what do we do for this? Well, we're given the slot, so we can just do this. Slot equals 2. Well, if it does, then return 2. If it doesn't, return 1. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Done. Now this will find a texture for us. Now before we test this out, let's add in another method here. This is gonna be for our icons. So it's gonna override, and we're gonna make sure that it only runs on the client. Just remember that all this runs on the client. I'm just gonna put it on this because I'm not totally sure about this, but I'm pretty sure that all this stuff here runs only on the client. Rendering stuff is usually only on the client, or it is on the client. The server doesn't handle that. Anyways, so this is gonna be our icon, and this is how what's it called? Minecraft finds icons. So it uses this method. It calls this method, and then you give it where your icon is, right? You call this method, and then it basically puts the icon in a variable, and that variable is oops, this is capital, and that variable is where we're gonna put is where Minecraft finds the icon, and that variable is called this dot item icon. All right, and it's gonna be icon register dot register icon, and this is just gonna get this. This is just something get unlocalized name dot substring this dot get unlocalized name dot index of the dot plus 1. Okay, and all this does is I missed an S here. All this does is just it basically, this is the location of where your icon will be. All right, and it just registers it. It just takes this is basically, will turn it into the item icon format it needs to be. Right, this is the location. All right, this makes it the icon, and it puts it into this. You can look at Pahimar's video because this is already getting too long. Pahimar's video explains this. All right, so now we need to put everything into the rightful folders. So you see I have 3 folders here. Assets, remember to name this exactly, has to have an assets dot tutorial mod or whatever your mod ID is, and then you get to textures, and then you get to language. So the first thing we're going to do is just create a language file here quickly. It's going to name it file. I'm going to call it en dot underscore us dot lang, and for this we need to add in our armor stuff. So item dot our mod ID tutorial mod dot or this, and custom helm, that's what we're gonna have, and this is gonna just be like this, custom helmet, and we're gonna copy this 4 more times, 1 2 3 4, and this is gonna be the body, this is gonna be the legs, and this is gonna be the boots, custom chest plate, and this here is gonna be the chest plate. Oops, custom chest. Well, we're naming it in Minecraft in the code, legs and boots. And I forgot one more thing. Dot name. Dot name. Oops. Dot name. Dot name. Oh my goodness. And dot name. All right. Done. Then we'll close this. We don't need this anymore. Now we're gonna add in all of our textures and stuff. So I'm gonna just open up where I had. Oh shoot! What did I just do? Oh god! Oh god! Oh, I didn't do anything. Okay. It's gonna open up the folder I had it in. Gonna move this over here, and we're gonna open this. What was it? This one. Okay. And it's on my other screen, so you don't have to worry about how I'm getting it. We're gonna just drag in the assets we made. So our icons, we're going to drag into the items. This is where you put your icons, this exact place, textures.items. This is literally where you need to put your icons, nowhere else. Okay? Notice how I name it custom boots, custom helm, custom legs, custom chest, because that's what our oops, I have to delete this. That's how our unlocalized name will find it. If we set our unlocalized name to custom helm, well, then this is the texture it's going to use. If we set it to custom chest, this is the texture we're going to use. So we don't need to use this right now. Okay. And then we have to take our layer 1 and layer 2 stuff. I'm going to put it into here. Remember, this could be any folder you like. Just make sure it's after assets and tutorial mod. Alright? Done. And there we go. Now we have to go back here and we have to do all this registering stuff, and oh god, this is getting very long. So the first thing we need for armor, and this could be found in any like just look up any armor tutorial ever. They don't ever explain how to put in the model, but they do explain how to put the armor material. So we're gonna quickly just make an armor material here. I'm gonna call it useless because it's gonna be a nothing armor material. Alright, I'm gonna call this sorry, in Python these single quotes are the same as double quotes, so that's why I keep messing up with those. The durability is gonna be 0, and that makes it infinite. We don't want our thing to die out, don't we? So new, it is gonna make a list. This list defines oh my god, it's so annoying how Eclipse does that. Okay. This list defines the durability for, the protection each armor piece does, right? You can, once again, look at any tutorial for this, and it'll make sense. Alrighty. Equals. Okay. Now let's add in our armor, and once again, I just need to look on how. I don't remember a lot of the syntax or API, so I always have to look over at my previous stuff. Okay. So here, we're going to add in our items. So item, it's going to be custom helmet, and it's going to be new armor TM, and it's going to have our useless armor material. It's gonna be on the render index of 1, 0. 0 is the helmet, right? So let's also set the unlocalized name, because we have to do that before it calls nothing. So it's going to be called custom helm. And remember, we have to name it this because we need to name it that, because this is how it's going to use to find the icon name, the language file, and ultimately our armor texture. So let's copy this 4 times. I wish you can just do this and it'll automatically and it would automatically put it in and register it and stuff. I know it'd be a little bit, it'd be bad because you'd need to make new instances all the time of items, but it'd be cool if you could just mention it and then it'll suddenly be like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be registered. Okay, we also need to change this. Legs, boots, and here 0, 1, 2, 3. Alright, almost done. Now we need to register it, so we have to go into the game. This is supposed to be in the init event handler, not the pre-init, but in this case it doesn't matter. And the reason I'm putting it in the same place is because then I'd have to make my custom helm, custom chest actually be outside of this method for it to be accessed in the other method for init. So I'm just gonna leave it here. I don't see much of a difference in this case, but you should put it into so this thing here should be here. Okay, I'm not doing it just because I want to just keep everything here and I don't want to do much more than that. Alright, custom helm, make sure you have the same unlocalized name. Usually the way I do stuff, at least, it's the way Pahimar also does it, because I've been watching his videos and reading his code lately. He uses a class where he keeps all the names. I'm sure other people do it. I'm sure a lot of other people do it. It's just that this is not the first time I see it, but it's just where I got the idea of, and the first person that comes to mind who uses it. But he makes a class that's specific for just keeping the names of stuff, right? So instead of doing like rewriting all this, right, he'd call the class name, and then he'd type right, custom helm, right, and then this would keep this string instead of you having to type out this string, and it just makes it easier to reference. That's all. And I think you guys should do that too. I think it keeps everything nice and clean. And it also gives you a place to, you know, if you want to, for example, like, oh man, I didn't like the name I gave, like, my custom, right? I want to name it, you know, customs, right? Well, then you would have to go through each one of these and change custom to customs, right? But if you have a variable, you can just refactor the variable and then just change the string inside that variable, and that's it. So it's just good for many things, and I suggest others to do that too. Alright, finally, everything has been done. Let's run this code. Usually, I use Control F11 to run my code, but this time I'm scared my video capturing device will shut down, because the last time I did that, I accidentally set the stop button to F11, and it shut down my video, and then I had to restart it because I don't want to edit too much. Alright. Three years later. Come on, Minecraft. Let's hope this works. Please. Text message. Nice. Oh yeah. Okay. New world. I'm pretty sure I accidentally left all the items. Oh shoot. Oh my god. Okay, so okay. Oh, take this all off. Take this off. So this is our armor. Look how bad it looks. This is the head armor. This is the chest plate. This is the boots. Legs. How awesome does that look? Looks great, doesn't it? Let's put it on. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Oh my. What is this? Oh my god. Now, if you did make your textures 64 by 32, it should look fine. If you made them 64 by something else, well, this is how you make models in Minecraft, guys. Goodbye. I'm just kidding. We do need to access the model class and change it to 64 by 64 because right now it's 64 by 32. So this is just like, yo, what the, yo. Alright, so next time we'll do that. We'll fix everything up so it looks nice. Alrighty, see you guys next time.